Hey Algebra 1, this is Mr. Osborne. I'm going over the Unit 1 practice test. So this is a video to help you get through your review, help you understand some of the steps to go through it. Okay, so starting with number 1, we got to find the measurement of this line in centimeters. So I'm going to go over to the other camera. Okay, so what you're going to do is take your ruler, and it's in centimeters, so just go to the side of the ruler that's in centimeters. And make sure you're on the right side, because here you'll notice it says inches, and over here you'll see it says mm and cm for centimeters and millimeters. Okay, so I'll line this up and try to line up you want to line up this last mark here. You don't want to line it up here at the end of the ruler. You want to line it up on the mark right there. That looks good. And then we go to the end of the measure, which is about right there at 3 centimeters. Okay, so our answer here would be 3 centimeters. Okay, and let's just say we had to do this in inches. Turn it around. I'd start at this mark, and then I go from 1, and then over, you'll see here it goes 1, 2, and somewhere between 2 and the third mark here for the inches. But just remember here, each of these marks is a 16th, because there's 16 marks between each of the inches. So here, if this were in inches, this would be 1, and since it ended here at 3/16, it'd be 1 and 3/16 inches. Okay? Okay, let's go back to our other camera here. So now, number 2 says Sam is measuring the length of his pool. The length. Okay, which unit of measurement is most appropriate? So which one of these is the best way to measure? Okay, a pool. Remember, a pool is not very small. It's big. Okay, so millimeters is a really small measure for measuring small things. So that wouldn't work. Inches? Maybe. Meters? Possibly. Miles? Definitely not. Miles is too big of a measure. That's really big. That's like for traveling somewhere or something like that. Or if you're running a long distance. Now here, it's inches. Inches is also a small measure compared to meters. And a pool, let's say this pool is maybe about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 5 to 6 meters long. Who knows? Okay. Whereas if it were inches, it'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It'd be hundreds of inches. Okay, so the best measure here would be meters. 3. Craig stayed in New York for 3 days. How many minutes is that? So that means we have to convert days to minutes. Okay. Now, we have to convert by knowing how many minutes there are in one day. But we don't really know. Okay, there's a lot of minutes in one day. But what we can do is go from one measure to the next in multiple steps. Okay, so I know how many hours are in a day. I know how many minutes are in 1 hour. So we're going to make 2 conversions here to get to our amount of minutes. Okay, so the first thing is I'm going from a larger measure, big, to a small measure, from big to small. And when we go from big to small measures, we always multiply because it's going to be a larger number. Okay, so I'm going to multiply times how many hours are in one day? Well, there's 24. So 3 times 24, I multiply that, and then I get 72. Okay, so that tells us how many hours. Actually, let's write it over here on this side. So it's 72 hours is 3 days. But then I need to convert that to minutes. Okay, and again, we're going from a big to a small, so we multiply. And if we were going the reverse, from minutes to hours to days, then we'd actually divide. Okay, so now we need to say how much of the smaller measure is in the larger, and how many minutes is in an hour. 60. So now I multiply 60 times 72. Okay, well, the first one's just 0, 0. Skip a space. 6 times 2 is 12. Carry the 1. 6 times 7 is 42, plus 1 is 40. Oops, that's backwards. It's 43. Oops. Okay, so that adds up to 4,320 minutes. 4,320 minutes. And don't forget to write what type of measure you're using, okay? 4,320 minutes. Okay, now how many centimeters are in 5 feet? Okay, so we know the original measure is 5 feet, and we want to go all the way to centimeters. Okay, to get to centimeters, the only thing I know going from a metric measure to a standard measure, because remember these are two different types of measure, is that 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. So what I could do is I can go from feet to inches. Let's do it like this. Feet to inches, then to centimeters. Okay? So now again, I'm going from a large measure to a small. So if we go from big to small, we always multiply. Okay? And I'm going to do it twice, because I'm going to go from feet to inches and then inches to centimeters. Now, first, how many of the small measure is in the larger? How many inches in a foot? There's 12. Okay? So I do 12 times 5. That's going to be 60. And then I say how many centimeters is in 1 inch? Well, that number is given here. There's 2.54 centimeters in 1 inch, so I multiply 2.54 here. Okay, now I could do this on paper, or I could just pull out my calculator. I'm going to pull out a calculator. So let's switch over to the calculator. 60 times 2.54, that gives us 152.4. So 152.4, and that's how many centimeters it is. 152.4 centimeters. Okay, and again, don't forget the measure. It's centimeters. Okay, now let's go up to number 5. Okay, a word problem. Now this says Tom is 6.5 feet tall. So let's draw a picture. Tom, let's say this is Tom. He is 6.5 feet tall. Okay? Dr. Nguyen told him that converted to inches, he is 77 inches tall. So the doctor is saying that if you convert 6.5 feet to inches, that his height should be 77 inches. But Tom says the doctor told the doctor that his math is wrong and that he is actually 78 inches. Okay, so the doctor says 77 inches. Tom says that if he converts to inches, that he is 78 inches. So the question is, who's correct? Okay, so we just have to basically convert 6.5 and see what it really is. Okay, so I'll go over here on the side. 6.5 feet, and we're going to go to inches. Okay, so that means if we're going 2 inches, we're going from a large measure, or big, to a small. So we're going to multiply times how many of the smaller measure is in the larger measure? 12. Okay? So 6.5 times 12, 78. So it's 78 inches, meaning Tom is correct. So we could say Tom is correct because when 6.5 or 6.5 feet is multiplied times 12, it equals 78 inches. Okay? All right. Now, next one is, what is the perimeter of this shape in inches? So remember, focus on the fact that it says, what is it in inches? Okay, not in feet, but inches. So that means that if one of these is not feet, it's not inches, we're going to have to change it. Because remember, with perimeter, we add the sides. We find the sum of them. Okay, you add the sides. So it should be this side plus this side plus this side plus this side plus this side. But in order to add them together, they all need to be the same measure. They all need to be in inches in this case. So we know that 2 feet and 4 feet is not, and we have to change them. So again, I'm going to change 4 feet to inches. And we're going from a big to a small. And there's 12 inches in 1 foot. So multiply times 12. So this will equal 48 inches. And this times 12 will equal 24 inches. And now we can just add all the sides up. Okay, so 48 plus 9 plus 24 plus 30 plus the square root of 79. Okay, we have 5 measures, so I should have 5 total in my total here. So now, what I can do is here I've got the square root of 79. Now what I can do is I can find the square root of 79 and then put it here so that I can add. Or I can just do this on the calculator. Okay, so 48 plus, I have to go back and forth, 9 plus 24 plus 30 plus the square root, and on these calculators, to get the square root, which is right there, you need to press the second button first, and it's like that on some other calculators too, the square root of 79. And I get this number. Now let's go back to this and see what it tells us to round to. Okay, if we go to the top here, it says round your answers to the nearest hundredth. Okay, so go back to this one. The hundredth place is the second number after the decimal, the 8 right here in the middle. So what I do is I look to the number to the right, and if that number is 5 or bigger, it will cause this number to go up 1, and it will. So this 8 will go up to 9. So it'll be 119.89. 119.89 inches. Okay? And again, another way you can do this is just figure out what is the square root of 79. So I'll do square root of 79. So it's 8.8. And again, this is 8 and 8, so we'd round it the same way. This would go up to 8.89. And so, what I can do here is instead of putting square root of 79, I can put 8.89. And of course, I'd have to add zeros and a decimal here to these other numbers in order to add it. And then I could just punch that in a calculator. Okay? And you'll end up with the same answer, actually. Okay? So either way is fine. Now, what is the perimeter of this volleyball court? Okay, well, the perimeter, again, is you're going to add all the sides. So you're going to add 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. So you need to figure out what each side is, the length is. Okay? Well, if I look at the bottom here, it shows that it's 9. So this side is 9 meters. Okay? Now, if I look on the right over here, this 3 and 3 only tell me a short portion of the length. So that doesn't help. But if I look on this side, it shows that the length is 9 meters to the middle, and then 9 meters from the middle to the other end. So really all I'm doing is adding these two 9s together to get 18 meters. So that means this side is 18. Okay? And again, if this side's 18, you know that this side is 18. And if this side is 9, you know that this side is 9. So we just add up the sides. Okay, 18 plus 18 is 36. Actually, we'll just do this the old-fashioned way. 8 plus 8 is 16. Plus 9 is 25. Plus 9 is 34. Carry the 3. 3 plus 1 is 5. Okay? So then we get 54 meters. Okay? Okay, that's page 1. Click on the next video for page 2.